The views and opinions expressed on America's Workforce Union podcast and its digital media channels are solely those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of the producers or sponsors.
Welcome to the America's Workforce Radio Podcast, the flagship production of the American Workers Radio and Podcast Network, where organized labor and its never-ending fight to protect the rights of the American worker come first. Now, presented by LIUNA, Laborers International Union of North America. Here's your host, Ed Flash Ferens.
The National Labor Relations Board ordering Amazon to bargain with workers in San Francisco. Meanwhile, a win for Teamsters in Washington State. And today on the show on Trades Day, it's the Columbus Central Ohio Building and Construction Trades Council. Welcome to the Thursday, July 2nd edition of America's Workforce, where we're available on at least 5 platforms, including YouTube, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Pandora. Dorsey Hager, Executive Secretary-Treasurer of the Columbus Central Ohio Building and Construction Trades Council, will be our featured guest on the show today, longtime supporter of America's Workforce. First thing we're going to do, get an update on what's happening in Central Ohio. There's a company called Anduril, and they are doing a lot of defense work, building drones. And I'll tell you, every day it seems a new company is popping up in Central Ohio. We'll talk about them. We'll talk about data centers. Apparently, a lot of the trades involved in the restructuring and rebuilding of the municipal courthouse. Also, women in the trades. Dorsey took a look back 10 years ago, and the difference between 2016 and this year is a 400% increase in females entering the trades. Now, things have changed a lot in the trades. They're more palatable to the issues that women are concerned with, like maternity leave, like childcare. Dorsey's going to speak to that. He's also going to give us an update on their Workforce Development Committee and also a fundraiser for pro-worker candidates. Let me repeat that, pro-worker candidates. Website you want to go to, columbusconstruction.org. Now, a brief look into the world of labor. This segment brought to you by Boyd Watterson Asset Management. $38 billion of assets under advisement. You can find more at boydwatterson.com. The National Labor Relations Board has ordered Amazon to bargain with workers represented by the Teamsters in San Francisco. This is huge. The order marks the second bargaining order issued against the company in recent months. Amazon was ordered by the Labor Board to recognize and bargain with the workers' union in Staten Island. That was back in April. In the latest ruling, the NLRB judge found that Amazon violated federal law when it refused to recognize the Teamsters union after it obtained majority support from a group of employees at the delivery center going back to 2024. Now, this ruling relies on a Biden-era NLRB precedent called CEMEX, CEMEX Construction Materials Pacific, LLC. Under CEMEX, if a union signs up a legitimate majority of workers, the company is required to either recognize and bargain with the labor group or ask the NLRB to hold an election testing its support. Well, according to the NLRB, Amazon did neither. Now, the company, well, of course, they denied any wrongdoing. And a spokesperson from Amazon, Sam Stevenson, commented, "We disagree with this administrative law judge's decision. We're appealing it, and we're confident that a court will overrule it." He might be right about that. We'll keep you posted. Meanwhile, let's go to Tukwila, Washington, where workers at the Mill Rock Packaging Company have voted unanimously to join Teamsters Local 117. The material handlers will join an existing bargaining unit of press and assistant press operators, floor help, pre-press plate makers, and sheet operators at Mill Rock who previously joined the union. Paul Dasher, the secretary-treasurer of Local 117, he said, "We are proud of these workers for sticking together through this process. Our goal is to make sure their concerns are addressed at the bargaining table. We look forward to working with this group to outline their demands and negotiate a contract that they can be proud of." The material handlers organized for workplace protections, increased wages, affordable health insurance, and better retirement benefits. By the way, Teamsters Local 117 represents 19,000 workers across Washington state, across many industries in both the public and private sectors. For more information, just visit Teamsters117.org. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Dorsey Hager, on behalf of the Columbus Central Ohio Building Trades, coming up next.
You're listening to America's Workforce with Ed Flash Ferens.
It takes LIUNA to keep America running. Over 70,000 public employees are part of LIUNA, the Laborers International Union of North America, delivering critical services such as healthcare and emergency response, as well as maintaining roads and sanitation systems. Even the National Postal Mail Handlers Union, representing over 47,000 U.S. postal workers, is affiliated with LIUNA. Find out what it takes for LIUNA to keep America running at liuna.org. That's liuna.org.
America's Workforce is brought to you in part by the Heat and Frost Insulators Labor Management Cooperative Trust. Find out more at insulators.org/LMCT. America's Workforce is brought to you in part by the United Steelworkers. You can find more at usw.org. The Heat and Frost Insulators and Allied Workers are proud to be a title sponsor for America's Workforce Radio. The Insulators Union is leading the way in the mechanical insulation industry, fire stopping, and infectious disease control. Regarded as North America's energy conservation specialists, these professionals are known for their professional work and dedication. You can learn more about the Insulators Union at insulators.org. Blue Cross and Blue Shield companies formed out of a need to provide affordable health care to teachers, to loggers, and miners. Back in 1965, the Blues developed the National Labor Office to strengthen its commitment to organized labor. Blue Cross Blue Shield's National Labor Office remains focused on America's workers, advocating for affordable and equitable health care, partnering with strategic alliances to provide industry-leading products and services, and proudly serving more than 18 million unionized workers, retirees, and their families, all working hard for America's working families, for the health of America. You can learn more by following them at Blue Labor on LinkedIn and X, formerly known as Twitter.
America's Workforce appreciates our sponsor, the Columbus Central Ohio Building and Construction Trades Council, who represents more than 18,000 workers from 19 affiliated local unions and district councils.
America's Workforce is presented by the Laborers International Union of North America. Feel the power right now at liuna.org.
Now, back to America's Workforce. Here's Ed Flash Ferens.
And remember, you can check us out on Facebook or follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter. That would be AWF Union Podcast. AWF Union Podcast. Well, if you've been listening to this show, and I appreciate you listening to America's Workforce for 3 years in a row, the #1 union podcast in America, you probably know there's a lot going on in Central Ohio. And the guy in the middle of it all is Dorsey Hager. Dorsey is the Executive Secretary-Treasurer of the Columbus Central Ohio Building and Construction Trades Council. And their website is columbusconstruction.org. You could follow them on X, formerly known as Twitter. And this is so appropriate. Build Central OH. That's exactly what's going on. Dorsey, let's get an update. I know there's a couple of delays. We've talked about that with the Intel project. But boy, I tell you, every place I go in the country, I'm talking to trades. And they're saying, we got a lot of work. And we need more workers. I'm hearing that, and I know what's going on in Central Ohio. As far as the projects, let's start right there. Where are we? We got any delays, supplies, workforce? Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, well, we're really excited. Myself and Anthony Chiardelli, he's a business agent for IBW 683. We've kind of gotten into the, I don't want to say the habit, but we've kind of gotten into a nice little rhythm of getting together on each other's schedule, going out and hitting job sites. And, you know, sometimes it's by accident. You may be driving to a meeting, you may be driving home, you may be taking a different route from work because of traffic. You see a hole in the ground, you see some steel coming up, maybe an elevator shaft or something, and you're like, what's this? And you stop, talk to a few people, go back, do a little education, do a little research and find out what it is. But Anthony and I were together last week. We spent a lot of time, Pickaway County. We Anduril 1, the first building of the Anduril 12 building campus down there is complete. They've gotten their occupancy permit. Now everything's real hush hush and real private, obviously flash, and I don't have security clearance, but it's my understanding from everything I've read that the first drone will be coming off the assembly line this week. So, they're getting contracts with Great Britain. They're getting contracts with Australia. Obviously, they're getting contracts with the U.S. government, not just for weapon drones, but also drones that do research and reconnaissance. And they're going to start filling orders by this week is my understanding. The second building, which is the office building for the workers, storing a lot of the research and data. The steel is up, the sides are on. They're going to start building out that building. So we're seeing some of our folks who are working at Anduril transition off of the first building, tying up loose ends, and then going over to construction of the second building. And they went at a phenomenal pace. Lots of folks down there, and to get that first building up and operational, including everything that's inside with the factory lines and everything, to be producing those drones in about 13 months is really exceptional. So hats off to those folks. And that's a big customer and a big client that's came to Central Ohio that didn't have a presence here, 18 months ago, and now they're here. So it's an awesome, awesome thing to see. After that, Anthony and I went to Asheville, Power Connects and Edge Connects, building data centers and a power plant down there. They've got the first site all fenced in. They've got earth and ground and dirt being moved and graded. They've got gravel being brought in, temporary trailers, and we hope the underground starts here in the next 30 to 60 days. But it'll be exciting to see that campus come up and take shape. And we're going to keep our eye on that as members of our building trades are being sent down to Asheville and down to Power Connects and Edge Connects to help with the construction of that. So that's some of the big things that we're seeing right now. Data center construction, behind the meter construction. The site work has started on the new downtown courthouse that the city of Columbus is going to do, the municipal courthouse. It's about a $325 million job, all covered under a community benefit agreement, which has been one of the staples of Mayor Andrew J. Ginther's administration, utilizing more and more community benefit agreements, not on police substations and not only on fire stations and community centers, but also this huge project that's going to be state of the art. So we're really excited for this. We know we're going to make this job come in on time, under budget, and safely. And we're starting to refer folks down there right now to the center in the heart of downtown to bring this municipal courthouse up out of the ground. So we've probably touched on maybe 1/100th of everything that's going on right now, Flash. I mean, we could take up the day talking about work, but it's all exciting stuff, and we're really happy that it's all happening. A lot of it's happening here in Columbus and Central Ohio.
Dorsey, let me ask you this. Because Columbus is getting so much attention, and all of Central Ohio, not just Columbus, because it's getting so much national attention, are you seeing workers from other parts of the country say, I'm going there, and maybe I just might stay there and raise my family there? Is any of that happening?
Yeah, 100%. When myself and a lot of our delegation went out to Portland and Phoenix after the Intel announcement, and we saw those local unions and also not only their membership, but also a lot of their officers, seeing them from being all around the country, I obviously asked the question. They said the same thing is going to happen in Columbus and Central Ohio. Intel, all the wraparound companies that they're going to bring, and all the support companies that they're going to bring, plus all the data center construction that you're having. You're going to have people from all over the country that are living in areas maybe that are not so affordable, or maybe areas that are a little economic depressed, where the jobs aren't as readily available. they're going to come to Columbus. They're going to take a referral. They're going to work. And then after 6 or 7 months, they're going to be like, this is crazy. Why am I going back home when there's 25 years worth of work staring me in the face? I'm just going to stay here. And we are starting to see that already all across all our trades, not just the mechanical trades, like the electrical, the pipe fitters, the sheet metal, and the insulators. We're seeing it with the iron workers. We're seeing it with the laborers. We're seeing it with the painters. We're seeing it with a lot of them. And, people are coming here. They're seeing the affordability. They're seeing all that Columbus and Central Ohio has to offer, not only the infrastructure, abundance of water, lower cost of living, great quality public education, and secondary education, Ohio State, Denison, Otterbein, Ohio Wesleyan, all the colleges that we have here within a 30-minute drive. And they're saying, why am I going to go back home? I'm just going to stay here. There's a lot of great things in Columbus and Central Ohio. And I know that that's going to help lead to a huge boom here. And, it's not only the data centers and Intel and the chips and the Silicon Heartland, like Sherrod Brown discusses, but it's also the churches, it's the shopping centers, it's the houses, it's all the government buildings, the schools that the roads and bridges. It's all the infrastructure that we're going to have to build to support this booming economy here in Columbus, Central Ohio, and all the growth that we're experiencing.
Speaking of the infrastructure, I know you and I had conversations over the airport. They did not have a community benefit agreement there. I do remember that. And I know we're talking about a lot of jobs. Hopefully they would have been more union jobs there. Can you give us an update on that? Because we're going to need a bigger airport in Central Ohio.
Oh, absolutely. The steel's coming out of the ground. There's a lot going on there at the airport. We still have a lot of iron workers. We still have a lot of laborers. There's still operating engineers there, and they're still moving some ground and doing a lot of site work. So yeah, the added gates are going to be huge. It's my understanding that about 83% of the jobs on the project are being performed by union members, which is good. Unfortunately, there's a few bad actors that have also got some contracts on there. And, it's like I told, the former CEO of the Columbus Airport Authority, Joe Nardone, this is just going to be a breeding ground for union organizing. And that's what it's been. We've been going and hitting that job. We've been stripping workers, putting them on other projects. We've been hitting gas stations, restaurants, bars after work, and we'll continue to do so to help fill our manpower needs and continue to grow our ranks in our local unions.
Dorsey Hager, Executive Director of the Columbus Central Ohio Building and Construction Trades Council, longtime supporter of America's Workforce. We'll continue with him right after this.
This is America's Workforce. More shows available at awfradio.com.
It takes LiUNA to build North America's infrastructure. From roads and bridges to schools and skyscrapers, the men and women of LiUNA, the Laborers International Union of North America, build the projects we depend on. From constructing the Freedom Tower on the site of the former World Trade Center to untangling Washington, D.C.'s congested interstate, LiUNA members do the work that matters. Find out what it takes to be built by LiUNA at liuna.org. That's liuna.org.
America's Workforce is brought to you in part by the Communication Workers of America. You can find more at cwa-union.org.
There is unity and strength for workers.
We are the USW.
We are the USW.
The United Steelworkers.
The largest industrial union in North America.
We represent 850,000 members in the U.S., Canada, and the Caribbean.
We work in metals,
rubber,
chemicals,
paper,
oil refining,
atomic energy,
and the service sector.
We are steelworkers, standing strong and fighting for what's right.
This segment of the show is brought to you by the Brotherhood of Maintenance of Way Employees Division of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. For more information, please visit bmwe.org. America's Workforce is brought to you in part by the International Federation of Professional and Technical Engineers. You can find more at ifpte.org. America's Workforce is brought to you in part by the Ironworkers. You can find more at ironworkers.org.
America's Workforce is sponsored in part by Boyd Watterson Asset Management, LLC. Find out more about our investment solutions tailored to meet the needs of Taft-Hartley funds at boydwatterson.com.
American workers are sick of struggling to get by. It's time to get ahead. In the Teamsters Union, workers are winning industry-leading contracts, historically high wages, fully paid health care, and retirement benefits you can count on. Across the country, Teamsters fight alongside our brothers and sisters to secure a better life. It's what we've been doing and how we've been living for more than a century. When we fight, we win. Join us. Be a Teamster.
Now, back to Ed Flash Ferens with America's Workforce.
And remember, you can check us out on at least 5 platforms. That includes YouTube, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Pandora. And when you get an opportunity, here's what you do. Just sign up and receive our shows on a regular basis and give us a rating. Always appreciate those 5-star ratings, so please keep them coming. Our featured guest today is Trades Day here on America's Workforce. Hard to believe it's already July. Boy, this year's flying by. Dorsey Hager is the Executive Secretary-Treasurer of the Columbus Central Ohio Building and Construction Trades Council, columbusconstruction.org, talking about all the jobs happening in Central Ohio. Obviously, workforce development, key issue. You know what I have noticed in the national conversation, Dorsey? More and more outlets are talking about the skilled trades and why young people should get involved in the skilled trades. Part of that is AI, because a lot of the jobs, computer jobs, data entry, things like that, they're probably going to disappear with artificial intelligence. When it comes to the trades, there were two sectors they're talking about. Healthcare, we all know healthcare jobs are going to be around for a long time. But the trades, and again, when you learn a trade, nobody can take that away from you. So talk to me about workforce development in Central Ohio.
Obviously, we're stepping up our efforts, not only in the outreach and stuff that we're doing in the communities where we've historically had strong ties, but we're also doing very, very well in communities that maybe didn't know a lot about building trades and the opportunities within the building trades. We've been going to, in Central Ohio and Columbus, we have what are called Celebrate One neighborhoods, and they're neighborhoods that have been, where there's high unemployment, high crime, low education, low workforce development opportunities, training and stuff like that. And we've partnered with not only nonprofits, but also our city and county leaders to go into a lot of these neighborhoods and these pockets of the community and let folks, that maybe have been underserved or underutilized know about these opportunities within, the building trades and how to get on this direct path to the middle class. One stat that I saw just this morning was that since 2016, 10 years ago, the number of females in our local unions has quadrupled. It's increased by 400%. So that's an area where obviously in the last 100 years, the building trades has struggled, and more women are looking for opportunities in the trades, not only to make a good living, but also because of our incredible benefit packages, which includes family health care, so they can take care of themselves and their kids. 68%, our apprenticeship programs have grown by 68% in the last 10 years as well. Our work hours have gone through the roof. When I took this job 12 years ago, we worked about 4.2 million hours. 3 years ago, we worked a little over 9 million hours. This year, on pace to work over 20 million hours. Doubling the amount of work being done, which is just absolutely incredible. So opportunities here are great. I think a lot of our members, especially in some of the more technical specified parts of their job, the AI that they're using, which we are utilizing it to some extent, is not replacing our folks who are doing the actual work, but I think it's helping them get their work done more effectively and more efficiently, which hopefully will create to more opportunities for others as well.
All right, let's talk about politics here. I know you're very, very well connected there, and I'm seeing a lot more union members get involved in running for office, which is a good thing. In fact, Brian Poindexter is an iron worker here in Northeastern Ohio. He was on the show on Tuesday of this week. Talk to me about Emmanuel Remy. Apparently there was a fundraiser here, a city council member. Is that right?
Yeah, so a good friend of ours, Emmanuel Remy, who just got reelected in 25, and he's on the same cycle as Rob Dorns, IBW 683 member Rob Dorns. He's also legal counsel for ACT Ohio. But him and Rob, along with council President Shannon Hardin, whose brother's a 683 member, have really created a good, outlet or a good formidable trio for us to be able to go and discuss labor issues, not only with the building trades, but also labor issues that may incur within city or county government. They've been very instrumental in helping us a lot. The CBA committee was formed. They've strengthened fair contracting standards in the city of Columbus. So Emmanuel's just an incredible friend. He serves as chair public service committee, which means he works closely with police and fire, which is obviously, huge in the large major cities across the country right now. You've got to have strong police, got to have strong fire. So he's just a great friend and a good advocate for labor. We always try to help support him and do what we can. So when we were asked and given the opportunity to co-host a fundraiser with him with the Central Labor Council, and also the Columbus firefighters, their leadership, Steve Stein, we obviously jumped right in and want to be as helpful to Emmanuel as we can. So really proud of him. He's doing a great job. I know he works hard, tireless hours. He's always working around the clock, but just happy to be able to help and support him and anything that we can do for our friends down at council.
Good to hear. All right, Dorsey, as you know, in 2 days, we will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. I know you'll be involved in the community there at various functions and parties and all that kind of stuff. I want to use this opportunity because, you're a big supporter of the trades, no matter where they are. You do everything you can to make sure the workforce is ready for the work that's out there, and certainly there's a lot of work out there. Maybe you could just talk about what this time in America means to you as a worker. What do you think?
I think that this time means a lot. It's funny. I was kind of reading up on this earlier this week and getting different people's takes on how they see the economy and how they see the country as we celebrate our 250th year. And, Flash, I talked to you about this. I'll look and listen to people that I share the same interests with and maybe the same beliefs, but I'll also look at people who have totally contrasting beliefs and issues to hear what their take is. And I think that right now what we're seeing, and I just shared this with some of my training directors, some of my managers, my agents, while a lot of people, especially at the federal level, talk about how great the economy is. You look at the stock market and you look at low unemployment rates, not enough is being focused on underemployment. And right now, the underemployment rate in this country is a little over 8%. And I think that there's a lot of people, men, women, people of color, especially folks who are working jobs that maybe they didn't go to college for, maybe they're not excited about, or maybe they feel like they're not earning enough money with the degree that they have. And I think that they're seeing other things, especially opportunities in the trades, plumbers, pipe fitters, electricians, whether it's new construction, service, maintenance, building of data centers, upkeep of data centers, maintaining government buildings, schools, colleges, whatever. And a lot of those folks are coming to us because they're seeing, the salaries that we have and the wages that we earn, but also the incredible benefit packages and what union representation does as it offers protection for yourself, your career, your family, but also gives you somebody at the table to negotiate and bargain on your behalf for better working conditions. There's a huge organizing drive going on at Children's Hospital right now with the nurses. Nurses there make great money. They have great benefits. Unfortunately, their working conditions aren't good. They work a lot of hours, which isn't good for the patients that they take care of. Security there has been, what they say somewhat lax. So there's been incidences with violence, not only on the nursing staff, but all staff there at the hospital. And those are things that they want people to speak up and represent them and to address. And I think that that's what's creating more of a positive outlook towards unions, especially with younger people, again, as they see their parents and their grandparents have achieved, the American dream, and they feel like that others are doing well around them, but unfortunately the American dream is passing them by. And I think we're seeing that across the political front in some of these elections and primaries that we've seen here recently, especially as younger people decide to get involved more civics and government, more politically. And, you talked about Poindexter. So proud of Brian that he's decided to throw his name in the hat and bust his butt and try to challenge Max Miller, who's never been a friend of labor or the working people representing us in Congress. And I think it's great that more and more of our members are choosing to run for township trustee, city council, even mayor and even federal government as well. So that's kind of the things that I see. And those are the things that I'll be thinking about tomorrow morning when I'm at the parade, when I'm going home and grilling out and, having a hot dog or a hamburger and spending some time relaxing with family, is that everything that I have is due to the union movement and to the job and the opportunities that were given me. And I'm trying to give those opportunities and work with my officers and members to present those opportunities to other people that want to take advantage as well and do better for their families.
Amen to that, brother. Dorsey Hager, Executive Secretary-Treasurer of the Columbus Central Ohio Building and Construction Trades Council. ColumbusConstruction.org is a website you want to go to. Also, you can follow them on X, formerly known as Twitter, Build Central 08. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you next month, okay?
You too have a great fourth flash. So hopefully when we talk in August, we'll be talking about looking forward to the pennant race for Cleveland and for Cincinnati. So more likely for Cleveland, but not so much for Cincinnati. But who knows? Still the dog days of summer. We'll see how it goes.
And that'll be it for another edition of America's Workforce. Tomorrow, it's our first Friday with Fred Redmond, Secretary-Treasurer of the AFL-CIO. Until then, all of you, have a safe and wonderful day.
That concludes another episode of the America's Workforce Radio Podcast. Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss a show. America's